me here. Abhishek, if you want to say
Hey,
hi.
hi everyone. I am a part of Startup Spirit as well. I am from the business team. I handle the sales side and the business aspect of the company. And we are here to understand more about what SPV is, how does the SPV functions, what are the legal and the compliance related points that we need to keep in mind before creating an SPV. So hope we have a great session.
I hope that too. So before we start, I would want to talk a little bit about a few of the understandings that I want to give out. We are not a legal team over here. We are not lawyers, and we've been working with Startup Steroid and SPV Hub for quite some time. And we are here just to share our expertise, our understanding of the product, what we've encountered so far in terms of investors who would want to create SPVs, or even the founders, the different kind of hurdles that we've come across. And that's the information that we would want to share with you all. Along with that, if at all you guys have any questions or want to connect with us, you can go to our LinkedIn profiles and you can just say, hey, or book a meeting with us. So that was the disclaimer. And now to just give you a little bit of background about Startup Steroid, we are a small company, or we started about 4 5 years back, wherein both our founders, co-founders, are investors. They have been angel investors based out of California for about multiple years. And a few years back, they realized they wanted to do a lot of SPVs. They were finding technical challenges with the platforms that are available in the market, and then they decided that, hey, let's just create something that works for us, is simple, and that's how they ventured into SPVs. uh, in the last 1 year, we've created more than 100 SPVs. About more than $20 million have been raised by SPV Hub itself, and that's a basic background. So let us just discuss the topic today, understanding SPVs. Abhishek, would you like to start?
Sure. So, an SPV or a special purpose vehicle is a separate legal entity that is created to pool investments for multiple investors for a specific project or startup. It simplifies the process of investing and handling a legal entity and administrative work, allowing the investors to participate with lower amount and reduce the risk to take on a particular project. So basically, an SPV is a way of investing in a particular business. Now, let's suppose if you want to invest in a particular startup and you have a set of investors that wants to pool in funds together and want to create LLC series to invest in that particular company, they can do that with the feature of SPVs. Now, if they are not using SPVs, a small token sized investment cannot be done, or if they are doing it, it will be very difficult in terms of the legal compliances that are required, and also the documentation and the legal requirements in terms of the amount that they are spending in that particular investment. So the operational cost becomes very high. But in terms of SPVs, the operational cost remains low, and the risk to do a certain investment also becomes very low, because you are pooling in investments, you are pooling in these numbers with a group, and the risk taking ability comes down when you are investing as a group or as a single entity as well. And SPVs are becoming a big investment feature in the world of investments, because they help manage risk, as I told you, by isolating it to a single venture, making the deal more structured and transparent. They also offer tax benefits, making it easier to pool capital for specific opportunities like startups without getting tangled in the borders of funds and operations. The structure of an SPV is typically set up of an LLC or a corporation, managing its assets and liabilities separately. Once its purpose is fulfilled, the SPV can be closed or can be open as well, depending on the need. And for founders specifically, if they are using SPVs for their investment to raise their investments, they get an access to strategic investment. So basically, if an investor is pooling in fund from a particular investor, it becomes very difficult for him to raise that particular amount that he's looking to raise. But if he's using an SPV, he can pool in that amount with other investors as well, and the horizon becomes very large. Now it's also a simplified funding process, because a lot of investors, when they come in, they can create funds a lot easier, and the cap table management of that particular investor is also managed beautifully, because if that guy is raising a lot of money, and if he's raising it in a small brackets from a lot of investors, the cap table will be filled with these people, and it won't look that clean. But with SPVs, he has that flexibility of creating that pool of funds from a group of investors, making his cap table look very clean. And the other advantages would be it is very flexible. So let's suppose SPV, if you want to deal with the structure of investor investments, if you are creating an investment from a particular entity, it becomes very difficult for you to again and again formulate those documents. But if you have an NLC series with you guys, you can create investments seamlessly. Now, if I have to particularly break down the SPVs into different types, there are different types of SPVs, but majorly five types of SPVs. That is a standalone SPV, which is created for a single project. There are series of SPVs, uh, as I mentioned before, that if you create a series SPVs, you can create a set of SPVs in that particular series SPVs to create funds to make investments. The other would be master feeder SPV and securitization SPV. uh, Joint venture SPV is something which is used across a lot of angel networks and VC groups to form a company that is grouped together to raise investments for different projects, while keeping their operational needs to the lowest. These features make SPVs very powerful as a tool, and for founders looking to raise capital effectively, while maintaining the control over their startup. This is the best way to pool in funds. Now these SPVs also come with a lot of setbacks when it comes to creating that particular entity. But with SPV Hub, what we have done is we have bridged those gaps between founders, startups, angel groups, and individual investors as well. They can seamlessly connect with us. They can go to the website and create SPV, pool in funds, and invite investors to the platform as well. So SPV in general is a very huge aspect, but with SPV Hub, we have covered it beautifully and reduced the operational aspects as much as we can.
That's great, Abhishek. I think that was pretty clear to everyone about how what an SPV is. To add to that, I would also like to say that in the name itself, it is made for special purposes. So it is going to be unique to each investor, to each profile. Whatever purpose you guys want to make an SPV for, it is going to be completely your objective, and accordingly, it will be formed. Uh,
Right.
to add to that, I would just talk about a little bit about how the SPV formation takes place. The
Yeah,
Yeah,
and the
so
jurisdictions as well. So that
yeah,
is
yeah,
something which is very important in creating an SPV. And I was coming to that, asking you this particular question.
yeah. So just to start with the formation of an SPV is not very difficult. There are 4 or 5 people involved. One is obviously going to be the organizer. The organizer can be anyone, can be a startup founder and an investor who wants to, kind of be the organizer. It can be a fund manager, anyone. So there will be an organizer, then there will be a startup founder to whom you would want to invest in, or else an asset, whoever is representing the asset. Then there is going to be an SPV manager. In most of the cases, we SPV hub act as an SPV manager who kind of handle the operations, the entire day to day activity, just taking care of the entire SPV for the life cycle of it. Along with that, we have financial advisors and lawyers who are usually associated with SPV deals. And once these people come together, the organizer or the entire whoever wants to create an SPV have to first identify that yes, SPV is what is going to suffice their requirement and need. And then after taking that decision, they have to identify which jurisdiction do they want to apply through. So
Right.
in the US alone, we have about Delaware, Nevada, Wyoming, California, New York. You can register in any jurisdiction. But apart from that, if you want to do it outside USA, you have Cayman Islands, you have Luxembourg. So you have the flexibility to choose which laws would you want to abide by.
Right.
Every location will have their own favorable tax regimes, their own laws governing everything. At SPV Hub, we are kind of doing the registration under Delaware, and we are forming LLCs. That too,
Hmm.
we are forming series LLCs. That would simply mean that we have our own master, which is registered in Delaware, and under a master, we have multiple series that can be formed. So, if your requirement is going to be solely dedicated to one project, or less than a few projects in a year, uh, it becomes very easy for you to simply opt for an SPV, because it is completely independent of each other. So, if something happens to the master, the series is not affected. If something happens to the series, the master is not affected. So these are two different entities in terms of taxes, in terms of governance, in terms of everything. They are independent of each other.
Right.
Uh, we are currently doing Delaware simply for the reasons that it is the business friendliest state that we know of, and it's kind of available all over the internet. That doing businesses in Delaware is fairly easy. So that's why probably we've chosen the state. These are the two basic understandings that I wanted to give you.
Right.
Apart from that, I just wanted to understand, or we would want to talk about the compliance related
Right.
activities. So, Abhishek, if you want to take the compliance part.
Sure. So, as mentioned, Delaware is a place where a lot of our clients also like to create SPVs because of the taxation and regularities ease. Now, coming to the compliance part, when forming an SPV or a special purpose vehicle, compliance and regulatory considerations are crucial to ensure operations run smoothly. Now, from our experience from Startup Steroids perspective, we do 5 checks that are basically required while forming an LLC series. Or if I particularly have to talk about the compliance part, these are the 5 steps that we follow. First is the SEC registration and exemptions. SPVs are often formed under SEC Regulation D, uh, which allows exemptions for certain registration requirements, provided certain specific criteria are met or not. And the second check would be the accreditation of these investors. At SPV Hub, we ensure that all the people who are coming to participate in a particular investment or in a particular SPV uh, are accredited investors, and they are at that particular defined criteria where they don't face any problems with the SEC. And we check the criterias in the backend, and we check whether these people who are coming to invest in that particular LLC are accredited or not, including their income and the net worth that they hold. The second would be the KYC and AML compliance that we do. So KYC is basically know your customer. This is a basic check that all the financial institutions follow. This is to know your customer, where he's located at, what are his bank regulatories, and information about his investment journey so far. And the other part would be the AML. Now, this is a very crucial check wherein we understand the source of that particular fund, where it is coming from. So these two checks, once they are done, then we come down to the reporting requirements. Depending on the structure of the SPV, may be needed to report the financial information to the investors or to the regulatory bodies. Now, this depends particularly on the type of SPV structures that they have. And then we check whether these SPVs are under the specific state security regulations or not. So once these checks are done, then we can particularly create a SPV. Now, in this, I have a basic question, and I've seen these people as well who come on to the demonstration, the investors who particularly use our products. They also have a separate problem of operational management in this particular aspect. So, what do you have to say about that, Kritika?
So operationally, SPV needs to be managed for a long time,
Hmm.
for the life of it. So it can be for 5 years, 7 years,
Right.
10 years, however long the project is going to last, or as long as it takes to give some kind of a return on the investment.
Hmm.
These projects are live. So
Hmm.
internally, I don't think so. Investors also have that much of time or energy, or anyone has the time of energy to do the operational challenges. And plus, it is a very, very legally governed kind of a structure, right? So operationally, it has about 3 4 layers.
Okay.
First being the formation. In terms of formation, at least what we do at SPV Hub, we
Hmm.
intake all of the information. Once you have decided that you want to go ahead with an SPV, we kind of collect all the information. Who do you want to invest in? What is the purpose? If there is any carry, if there is any management fee, then comes the documentation. Now, because we already own the master, we have kind of templatized documents available with us, which are then customized according to the information that the SPV creator has given us. But in if at all you want to do it via someone else, or in a different location or anything of that sort, you will have to connect with your lawyers, your attorneys, and identify what kind of a documentation or the governance structure that works for you internally.
Right.
Once you've finalized that, then comes the compliance and regulation, and this does not start or end in the first go itself. It is an ongoing process. For example, each year probably we will have to fill in some kind of fee to Delaware, just to keep that SPV alive.
Hmm.
Similarly, there are different operational activities that are taken care by our legal team. Our legal team is currently sitting in US, and
Hmm.
they do all the filings, whatever is required, because again, each SPV is different. There can be different kind of distributions. There are multiple updates that come in, right? So
Right.
there, after a year, say a startup comes and says that we've raised another round, we want to give some money back to the investors. So those kind of updates also, or any kind of voting right issue, anything, it can be updated directly. And
Hmm.
of course, another activity that we do is K1. So at SPV Hub, we are kind of trying to do that as a regular activity. Even if
Hmm.
there is zero filing, we kind of do the filings for zero K1s as well. So those kind of operational activities are also taken care. So
Hmm.
this is a yearly activity. At the same time, multiple transfers, partial closures, or somebody wants to exit the SPV and are selling their share off. So those kind of activities are again taken care in the operational part. This becomes like a part of fund management or administration. Along with that, again, there are changing compliances that again you have to kind of take care. So, knowing all of this, there is a long list of operational challenges, but definitely we can discuss in depth on some other session because it's
Right,
a big topic.
right,
Uh,
right, right.
Meanwhile, probably you can also discuss a little bit more in depth about tax.
Sure.
Yeah.
So SPVs particularly provides a notable tax efficiency, and not just tax efficiency but protection as well. So especially when it is created in a tax advantageous jurisdictions. According to what we have seen, SPVs help separate income streams, leading to optimized tax treatment and better deductions of opportunities. They also act as a liability shield, meaning any tax related issue that happens with the SPV remains in the SPV itself. So it protects the other party company who has created that particular LLC series. So all the legal activities, all the tax related filings, all the tax related issues will come under that particular LLC SPV series. And what we have also seen is SPV streamlines tax compliance by offering clean documents and reporting procedures, reducing the complexity for investors as well. Their structure allows investors to concentrate on specific assets. So if I have to name a few assets, it can be real estate, it can be venture capital, uh, and these assets effectively manage, like the SPVs for these particular assets effectively manage the risk and increase the type of resources that are derived from that particular SPV. So, in terms of the tax, I think if you are in the right jurisdictions, then SPVs can be an integral tool and can be a very advantageous tool to save on your taxes. Now, with that, we have also seen that these particular aspects helps investors to manage their funds and manage their taxations beautifully, because in terms of the tax filing, when it comes to SPV, a single SPV, by not using any other platform, then the taxation and all the legal activities are being taken care by the legal team. But if they are using our particular solution, the legal team still, they use their own legal team. We don't provide any legal advice in related to SPVs as well. But in terms of the operational aspects and the filing of taxes and K1s, we help them a lot because these SPVs are maintained with us for about a period of 10 years. And in that particular 10 years, we, as you mentioned, we file K1s for them. We do the blue sky filing for them. And we also do W9. So these particular K1s takes a lot of load off from these investors' day-to-day challenges. And we have also seen these investors engage a lot with our particular tool. And with SPV as well, if I have to particularly say service, because it is very convenient for them as well to use these particular services and to pool in funds and create investments in in different aspects and in different regions. Now, Kritika, can you give a more in-depth understanding of what you have seen investors' engagement in our platform or in SPVs in general?
So, yeah, Abhishek, I think we are kind of running out of time, but
Oh, okay.
I will quickly get into it. I've seen that a lot of investors and even the startup founders are currently preferring SPVs.
Hmm.
Investors, for the simple reason that they have kind of more control over the project.
Right.
It's a one-on-one investment, so I for them it becomes like a project instead of a fund that they've invested in, who's kind of
Hmm.
doing multiple investments without their knowledge, or
Hmm.
you are kind of relying on somebody else's expertise. So in the case of SPVs, investors find themselves more in control. At the same time, there is a governance structure that they can decide who gets what, how do they want to structure it, the kind of updates that they want, the voting rights, everything can be chosen by them. So that gives investors a lot of transparency when it comes to investing via the SPVs. At
Hmm.
the same time, for the founders, right, I saw currently we kind of invested in we created an SPV for a company called Botco, and
Yeah.
founder just decided that they want to go ahead with the SPV, because for them it becomes easier to approach multiple investors and kind of have only one line item at the cap table. So
Right.
for them that is much more acceptable. At the same time, they have to answer to lesser stakeholders. The collection becomes easier. Somebody else is managing a lot of the headache. So all that becomes fairly easy for them. So just to kind of summarize all of this, uh, for startup founders, I think SPV is the way to go about the
I
initial
agree.
investment process.
Right.
Of course, if they don't want a single check in their account.
Yeah.
uh, and along with that, I think we also are kind of partnered with a company called Capita for cap table management. So founders kind of find that in the same space, and they find it very helpful. So this is a basic understanding of SPVs. I would want to discuss a few best practices, but before I get into best practices, do you want to discuss challenges or costs?
Yeah, sure. So, in terms of the challenges, there are no much challenges in particular if you are creating an SPV. But to name a few, while you are setting up and managing an SPV, that comes with some challenges. To outline a few, there are upfront cost and legal fees, and along with that, there are registration fees, consulting services charges, which can quickly add up. And ongoing management also involves like the administrative cost included, and the management compliance, accounting, auditing, governance expenses. Now, these particular things, when you are not using some other party resources, can be a bit hectic. But if I have to particularly talk about Startup Steroid, we provide SPV Hub as a solution which comes with all of these features included. So let's suppose if you're coming to register onto SPV Hub, you can seamlessly register. If you're creating series LLC an LLC series under our master series, you don't have to worry about the formation of legal documents. Our team will help you formulate all these particular documents, and in terms of the cost as well, because we file your K1s, we do the KYC as well, and we also do AIM, and we help you throughout the process in terms of communicating with the investors, whether they have pooled in funds or not, whether we have got funds or not. We do the blue sky as well for you guys. So for 10 years, your SPV is managed whole solely by us. So you don't have to worry about any additional charges that can come up. And in terms of the cost and the pricing that we offer, the pricing for a particular SPV starts at about 5,000 now. $5,000. Now these SPVs can go up to $10,000 as well, or $12,000, depending on the type of SPV and the structure, and the number of limited partners, the number of investors or LPs that will come up and pool in together the funds, and the amount of raise as well. And particularly, what we have seen is if an LLC is created under our master series, we don't have to worry about a lot of legal documents and legal filings, because those documents are already created, and you can seamlessly just hop onto the website and create an SPV within no time. So, in terms of the costing, we first have to understand the requirement, particularly what you are looking at and what are the type of investors that you have. How many type of investors do you have? Whether these investors are accredited or not. So all these quick KYC checks are run, and then the pricing starts with 5,000 and can go up to $12,000.
Okay, I think that's pretty sweet. I would just like to end the entire discussion, I will give a kind of a best practices for the SPV creation for all of you. So, first of all, again, as a disclaimer or anything, we are not lawyers at this point,
Right.
and you can definitely go ahead and check with your attorneys if you would want to, if SPV is the best way to go about it. But yeah, identify if SPV is suitable for you. Once you've done that, do you want to create a master or do you want to kind of create a series? That is another question that you have to answer. And then apart from that, you have to be very sure the kind of partner you're choosing to create the SPV, if they are doing all the authentications, if the anti-money laundering is being taken care of, if the KYC is being taken care of, if accredited status is being taken care of, if there is a platform that you're using as a tech support. Right now, I know for SPV Hub specifically, we've currently partnered with Tech Coast Angels. We have Thai Angel Network, who's using us for creation of all their SPVs. So we are not kind of charging any additional fee, or no hidden charges are there. So make sure when you choose a platform or choose a partner, you know exactly what are the pricing, what are you paying for. You don't want to have a surprise tomorrow that, hey, this is a kind of pricing that I did not expect to have. At the same time, the tech support team needs to be very on hands on if there is any customization, because I've seen a lot of competitive research when we do.
Right. Right.
We've seen a lot of platforms out there who are not able to connect directly to the investors or the organizer and discuss with them, hey, this is is this the exact thing that you were trying to create, or are we going wrong in some places? So that is something that SPV Hub is again offering. So you guys need to be very very sure about which is the partner that you're choosing. I'm not saying that choose us, but hey, just go ahead and choose us. So
I think that would be the right decision to choose us.
of course choose us. But of course, if you don't want to create in Delaware, or you want to have your in-house team and everything, then you have the ability to just make sure that all the checks and balances are in place. uh,
Right.
yeah. So
And SPV Hub acts as a manager, right? So
yeah,
basically, if you are creating SPVs and if you are pooling in investors from different locations, you'll have to do the KYC. You'll have to do all the checks from your own team or hire a legal team. And I am pretty sure that the management fees that we are charging are much lower than the legal teams that you would be hiring, and it creates a seamless balance between us and your team to create these particular SPVs. And then if you are creating multiple SPVs, if you have multiple investments, we also offer SSD deal flow that is
yeah,
particularly for these management
yeah,
systems. I
deal
won't
flow
dive into
management.
that. We'll have another session for that, but yeah, it's very seamless to.
Yeah. Okay, I think Abhishek has dropped, but um, I'm not sure. I think Abhishek has dropped, but I think it was a great discussion. I would just like to end the entire conversation. Thank you so much for joining in. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out. You can reach me out at Kritika at the rate startup steroid. And you can also reach me via my LinkedIn page. I have a book my calendar kind of a button available if you want to have like 30 minutes of my time. And similarly for Abhishek, you can reach out to Abhishek at any given time, at Abhishek at the rate startup steroid. You can also feel free to visit our website, startupsteroid.com. Bye bye, guys. Have a great night.
See you all.